We are very fortunate to have you in our district.
2 new administrators so in the year.
Our next portion will be the AB 329 California Healthy Youth Act portion of our agenda. Stacy Diebel-Reynolds, OCDE Director of Community and Student Supports. And Dr. Grace will be presenting. Thank you. You're welcome.
Good evening, board members, cabinet, and audience. We're here tonight again to review how we are providing safe and supportive schools for all of our students and our staff in the Anaheim Elementary School District. So there's a lot of education code that requires us to provide education, from adopting textbooks to the instructional minutes to transportation. The 3 I want to go over tonight are specific to providing a safe and supportive learning environment and work environment for all of our students.
126 is about transgenderism.
Elementary. The first one is SB 48, which is referred to as the FAIR Act, and it has to do with instructional materials. The second one, passed in 2013, is the School Success and Opportunity Act, also known as AB 1266. And in 2016, the California Healthy Youth Act, AB 329, was passed. So the FAIR Act has to do with adopting a new set of social studies and history textbooks. And we have a time frame laid out in order to do that. And part of the FAIR Act, which is inclusive of Ed Code 220, requires us to ensure that any of the materials that we adopt fairly represent all peoples, African American, Native American, people who identify with the LGBT community, as well as Muslims and various cultures.
How about senior citizens who think they're young?
And we would include senior citizens.
That think they're young.
So we also have updated our policies, procedures, and training around the School Success and Opportunity Act. And the main purpose of that is to ensure that all students in K-12 schools are permitted to participate in school programs, activities, and facilities in accordance with the student's gender identity. The next law, AB 329, we brought in our partners from the Orange County Department of Ed to further help the board understand this particular law and how it does not affect the Anaheim Elementary School District. So I will turn it over to Stacy Reynolds from the Orange County Department of Ed to give further information.
Thank you, Dr. Grace. The California Healthy Youth Act took effect in January 2016, and it requires districts to provide students with comprehensive sexual health education and HIV prevention education at least once in middle school and once in high school. So hence the circle with the line through it, and that it is not a mandate for elementary school districts to provide California Healthy Youth Act. Now in Anaheim Elementary, you certainly can teach health and maturation instruction, and so in 5th grade they are teaching growth, development, and sexual health, and this is part of many of our 5th grade for our elementary school districts teach in 5th grade. And actually Dr. Grace presented this slide, which I think is great, because one of the things that the California Healthy Youth Act does require for sexual health education, even if it is not part of California Healthy Youth Act grades 7 through 12 instruction, is that it actually does meet a variety of criteria requirements. So this is Ed Code 51933, and it says that all instruction and materials in all grades must, and there's actually a bit of a laundry list, but a few I wanted to point out are: 1, they must be age appropriate, they must be medically accurate and objective, and another one I wanted to point out is that they must encourage students to communicate with their parents/guardians and other trusted adults about human sexuality and provide provide the skills for doing so. So in Anaheim, they have a parent permission letter that is sent out. I know it's small, a small font might be tough to read there, but there is a letter sent out prior to teaching the unit. A permission slip must be sent home to the parents at least 2 weeks in advance, notifying them that the students will be studying human growth and development. Each student must return a signed permission slip in order to participate in the class. And the parents are encouraged and allowed and encouraged to review the materials. Each year, parents are offered an opportunity to come in, review the program and materials, which we recommend to all districts. It's a best practice to make sure that parents have the opportunity to review what their children are going to see. And I heard in the comments tonight some parents saying that they felt confident in their school in part because they got to see, they understand, they're aware of what's being taught. Okay, so I wanted to reiterate this. You heard Dr. Grace mention Ed Code 220, and so the two elements of this code I want to point out. One, state and federal law prohibits discrimination of students based on their actual or perceived sex, gender, ethnic group identification, race, national origin, religion, color, physical or mental disability, age, or sexual orientation. And also governing boards have a responsibility to ensure a safe school environment that is free of intimidation and harassment and to establish consequences for students and or staff who engage in discrimination. I apologize for reading off a slide. I know that's not a best practice, but I think it's important to mention those two things before I show you some important data. So in Orange County, and actually most counties across the state, the California Healthy Kids Survey is conducted. If you're not familiar with that, it is a survey that is pretty comprehensive and measures things like school supports and engagement, so how connected do students feel to their school, safety, bullying and violence, substance abuse, mental health, these kinds of things. It's a wonderful way to help, really give us an idea of how students are feeling and informs those of us in education about making decisions on what kind of programming we use, how many counselors we might hire, things like that. So for years we've had this data come back, and we have 7th, 9th, and 11th graders surveyed. And actually 5th graders at some school districts if they opt to. And in all of the data comes back breaking down these measures based on their grade level and by school district. School sites can get reports. At the county office, we're lucky to access through WestEd the raw data and look at countywide data. This year, for the first time ever, we were able to disaggregate the data into we were able to look at data as related to disparities among ethnicities, students of different ethnic groups, and then also by students with who identified as LGBT or T. The survey did not ask for any other. It asked if they were identified as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. Now, keep in mind, again, this is 7th, 9th, and 11th grade students. I can't recall if 7th grade actually asked that question. 9th and 11th does. But my colleague, Stephen Lambert's here tonight, who worked on this, he was worked very hard for months with our evaluation and data center. So I want to show you the importance of those safe school environments. So in looking at this slide, and I want to prepare you because some of the data is, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention this. The sample we're talking about in this disparities data is 45,445 students in 15 districts in the county. Again, 9th, 11th, and the NT stands for non-traditional. So those students who might be in an alternative education program. Here we are with the results.
So, very quickly, this survey was in Orange County schools?
Yes, this is, what I am showing you is Orange County data. So this, on the left, caring adults in schools, if you can't see the top here, the blue bar represents non-LGBT identified students, and the orangish bar is students who identified as LGBT or T. And on the left, caring adults in schools. So this is, students were asked a question, at my school, there is a teacher or some other adult, there's actually a variety of questions. There's a teacher or some other adult who really cares about me, who notices me when I'm not there, who believes that I'll be a success. These are a few examples of where we get the caring adults in school measure. And these are students who said that they agree or strongly agree. So clearly there's a disparity here. As far as high expectations of adults, we're seeing lower numbers there, and with school connectedness, this is drastically lower. And this question was, some of the questions were, I feel close to people at this school, I feel safe at my school, and the teachers at this school treat students fairly. Just to give you a sample, and you can actually go on the California Healthy Kids website and read the entire core module if you'd like more questions. I just wanted to give you a sampling here.
That seems like a huge deal.
Okay, verbal harassment. So this first one is actually the mean rumors or lies. This was during the past 12 months. How many times did other students spread mean rumors or lies about you online, on social media, or on a cell phone? And you can see the great difference there. During the last 12 months, how many times and again, I don't think I mentioned this, this is on school property. So during the last 12 months, how many times on school property have you had sexual jokes, comments, or gestures made about you? And so it's close to double. Finally, made fun of, insulted, or call names. We see a big disparity there. On-campus threats. We have students who identify as LGBT or T are afraid of being beaten up on school campuses, almost 3 times as often. And actually, not as often, rather, I want to be accurate. I said that yes, they were afraid of being beaten up, and 2 to 3 times or 4 or more times were those boxes that they checked. Threatened with injury or harm, threatened or injured with a weapon. Again, more reasons to create safe environments. And I'm going to end with mental health consequences, because we have students who, obviously, if you're not at school, you're not learning, you are unable to participate in your academic career, you're more likely to drop out. We know all of those statistics and relationships. So these are students who missed school in the past month due to emotional distress or perceived danger, chronic sad or hopeless feelings in the past year, and students who seriously considered suicide in the past year. So I share this with you. It's as the Orange County Department of Education, our superintendent, Al Mahares, has shared, as our staff believe, this is unacceptable for students. And we are working to support districts with making sure school environments are safe for all students. We have other data around that ethnic disparities, racial and ethnic disparities that we'd be happy to share. And we actually have a lot more information related to this around substance abuse, polysubstance abuse. There's a lot of things that we have. So just wanted to share that. And as far as more information about the California Healthy Youth Act, we recommend that folks go to the CDE website. It really is the best place for frequently asked questions. That's why I brought my laptop up in case there is one. I prefer to get the language right from the CDE website. And it has PowerPoint presentations that CDE uses when they come around the county to talk about Healthy Youth Act. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that information, and I would really like to get more of that data. Thank you.
Mr. Downing has a clarifying question.
So, Ms. Debo Reynolds, I want to thank you for your presentation this evening. Based on some of the inaccurate information we've been hearing, we asked the Orange County Department of Education to review our programs. So, just clearly, is the Anaheim Elementary School District teaching AB 329 curriculum?
You are not teaching AB 329 curriculum. Actually, the some of the curriculums that we've heard in different board meetings. There's a lot of misunderstanding, there's a lot of confusion. Believe it or not, there's curriculums with the same names out of Canada versus California and other states that are vastly different. And so we've had a lot of confusion in the public, and we appreciate that people are trying to understand that. Your district, no, is not required to teach CHI. You're an elementary school district.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll open it up to other board members for comments or questions.
Yeah, on the Healthy Kids survey, I believe one of the issues that survey helps address is the whole issue of school climate for all kinds of students. And I believe, you can help me with this, that school climate is one of the things that's looked at regarding student achievement. And we see a gap among, achievement gap among students with special needs, English learners. And through this survey, we can identify, I believe, some of the concerns that these kids have, the fact that they're alienated or not comfortable at the school, and it affects their achievement. We know that. So one of the things that tends to get trampled sometimes is the facts that you presented here about how we want to make sure that all students feel comfortable, right? That they're able to access the curriculum, whether they're an English learner, whether they have special needs, or whatever the issues. So this has been used statewide, right? This is used by districts all over California, right?
California Healthy Kids Survey is used statewide, and in fact, districts that receive tobacco use prevention education dollars, which Anaheim Elementary does, are required to conduct the California Healthy Kids Survey. Of course, you're an elementary district, therefore you would not have these questions. You might have questions about, do teachers care about me? Do I feel safe at school? It's a very different set of questions than a middle and high school district would complete.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the information, the presentation. So this survey that you did, and this was done by OCDE?
The California Healthy Kids Survey is conducted every 2 years. We've been doing this survey for, gosh, I think over 16 years now. Stephen, do you know how long? About 20 years. And so across the state, districts are doing this. We are very grateful for our partners at the Orange County Healthcare Agency, because for those districts that don't have the tobacco prevention education dollars, they are able to, they are offering funding to districts that don't have that, so that we can still collect data and understand what some of the issues are, and we can still create a countywide report, which is very valuable.
So can you put back up the slide that showed the data around suicide?
Yes.
And so you said these surveys have been going on for about 16 years now? Every 2 years?
We think 20. Mm-hmm.
About 20? So has that that last one on the right, seriously considered suicide in the past year, how have you seen that number for students who self-identified as LGBT? How have you seen that number tick up or down over the last 20 years?
So that's a great question. However, we don't have longitudinal data because the question about how students identify is new. We've only asked that in the most recent survey, and the survey from 2013-14, Stephen? Yeah, 13-14. So the new data just came out, and we will be able to compare at least those two. So we can share with you 2 years difference.
So is this from 13-14?
No, this is actually the most...
Yeah, so this is from the 15-16 or 15-17 data. So actually we did start to plot some of the trend data. So between 13-14 and 15-16, some of these indicators actually improved slightly, but we don't know what's going to happen between 15-16 and 17-18. So that's the data that we're analyzing right now. And to speak to your question about school climate, we're also going to be diving a little deeper to look at some of the other modules that are more specific to school climate to see if there's any alignment there.
When Stephen mentioned other modules, there's actually something called the core module, and then there are a variety of supplemental modules that a district can use, and most of our district did actually administer those surveys as well to their students. So it allows us to go a lot deeper.
And so these full surveys, or the results of them, can be found on that website that you shared?
The website I shared is for California Healthy Youth Act, and these surveys, we can send them to Dr. Grace, who can share them with the board.
Please.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Dr. Grace, just a clarifying question regarding the permission slips that you were discussing.
Mhm.
So parents have the option of not participating, correct?
Correct.
And is there an actual opt-out on that permission slip, or what if a parent does not want to participate? How does that?
They would not, they'd either contact the school or they would not return the form. If we don't have a form, we would not allow the child to participate in that lesson.
Okay, so not returning the form is basically an opting out.
Yes.
Thank you.
And they're removed from the classroom and put in another location, like what happens next?
They're oftentimes either sent to another classroom or to another location with a certificated employee.
So I'm just gonna one last thing here. So part of why I was asking that question is I'm just curious where the trends are going. But regardless of that,
Trends.
These are incredibly
It's all
large
about
numbers.
trends. Now the kids
so,
are deciding the curriculum, not the adults.
You know, I think that so it's clear that we're not teaching anything that we shouldn't be teaching. But I think these numbers also make a great case for why every school district should be working to protect their LGBT students. And so this really just reinforces for me that what we've been doing is the right thing by our students. I appreciate you coming.
Welcome. Any further questions or comments? Thank you very much for the presentation. We appreciate it.
Two genders already.
Board members, now we're moving into our consent portion of the agenda.